This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be the niece or the nephew of the famous Three Little Pigs. And we're going to be trying to build houses. We might find ourselves walking through the forest trying to find some wood to build a wood house. Or we might find ourselves in the brickyard gathering brick and mortar to make the sturdiest house possible. Or we might find ourselves in the fields making a straw house as quick as possible. Today we're going to take a look at the Grimm Forest from Druid City Games. This is a 2 to 4 player family game. I'm going to show you a little bit about the components, showcase them because that's a big part of this game, then show you how it's played, and I'll see you on the other side. Now I typically don't show you box inserts, but this one is extraordinary, so I wanted to show it to you. It has pieces here that are removable. They have tops on them. They even have little symbols on the top compartment there. And then these actually just come out and they sit by the board and they help you get some of the components that you'll need pretty much through all the turns in the game, and there's 2 of those. Then there we have like the miniatures that you'll use during the game, like this, and again, top there. And when you take that out, it has all the other awesome miniatures, which I'll give you a closer look at just later. And then here I have the cards. I love these, the 3 different sections of the cards, but you just push like this and the cards come right up. It's just marvelously designed, and it's very functional, and A+ on the insert here. Now each of you gets to pick which of the little pigs you're going to be. You get to pick a color and the miniature. And each of you gets a corresponding board of these. For example, the purple pig will be in this purple area with Rapunzel letting down her hair. The orange player will be in this beautiful cupcake world. The blue player in this cold but beautiful winter world. And the green player in this forest world. Now this game's not just about pigs, it's about fables and monsters. So here are a close-up of the miniatures that will come out as monsters throughout the game. So each pig not only will have their pig, their board, they'll get 4 gathering cards with the same color, and a player aid that's double-sided that helps people go right through the game. Now the game's played over multiple rounds of 2 different phases. You're going to go out to different locations and gather different items, and then you're going to be using those items to craft houses. You can go to the fields and get some straw, to the forest get some wood, to the brickyard get some brick, and then you can go to the market and get a little bit of everything. This is only here in a 4-player game. And so each of the players not only has their own board and their cards, but these cards are the same with each player. They just happen to have my color on the back, and this will allow me to go to the straw, to gather wood, to gather brick, or to gather the market. So each player during the gather phase is going to pick one of these cards that is where they want to go, and they'll place it face down. Once everyone's done that, you'll finally reveal at the same time, and then we'll see what happens. And once everyone's gone to the different places, if you're alone, you'll get to take all of the goods there. So this purple player is going to get the 3 brick, the green player is going to get the 4 wood. These players, if there's more than one, you have to split it evenly, leaving the remainder here. So there's 5 evenly is 2 each with 1 remainder. So each of these players would get 2, and 1 would be here for the next round. And then going in clockwise order from turn order, you get to build. You get to do any 2 actions. You could actually build a piece of the house. So for example, if I want to build a base that's wood, this player actually had gotten 4 wood. You pay 2 for a base, 4 for walls, and 6 for the top. Now you could be working on different houses at once, but each house has to stay the same type. So this one has to be all wood, for example. So here we would spend 2. I'd do this, I'd get 2 back, and I would have been able to build that. So I'd get some change here. And I can do some other things, like I can draw a fabled card. Now these fabled cards are interesting because these cards will allow you to do special things, and they'll trigger at different times during the game. Or we can gather 1 straw, wood, or brick. So maybe I really want to get an extra wood for next time so that maybe if I go to the wood again or the market, I'll be able to get this and build the walls. So those are some of the main things you're doing during your turn. After everyone's done their two buildings, their two build actions for the game, for this round, they'll move on to the next one. Then starting with the start player, which is this cool little book icon here, they'll go and they'll can do two actions. One of them is you can build. You can build a house. So you could spend 2 of a resource to build a bottom, 4 to build the walls on top, and then 6 to build a roof. So I have 4 here. I'm going to spend 2 of that to then build a base. And because I spent wood, I'm going to build a wood base, and I get some change there. If I had 2 more, I'd have a total of 4. I could then build some walls, but I don't have that yet. So you can build up. You're going to be building multiple houses. You're trying to get 3 houses done first. It's a race. The first one that does is the winner. Other things you can do is draw special cards, which we'll go over later. This will give you some different options to do on your turn, or you could just gain a straw, wood, or brick. So let's say this player just does that, and that would be the end of their turn. It would go to the next player's turn. Once everyone's done, we just start over, bring our pigs back, and we will do another gather phase. But before we do that, all these places get one of the big mega resources. So this one gets another 5, this one gets another 4, brick gets another 3, and the one on the right would get one of each of them. So the ones that have not been to last round will get more and more enticing. Now, as you go through these different phases, you might be able to build walls. And when you do that, you automatically gain a friend. Now, these cards are an integral part of the game. When you draw one, you can put it in front of yourself or give it to another player. And you can only have one of these out at a time. So if I took Pinocchio at the start of the round, I could tell people where I'm going. And if I do go there, I get 2 extra resources of that location. So because, you know, Pinocchio likes to lie, or you can lie as Pinocchio, but you won't get as many. Or you might want to be Robin Hood. This one might come up. And at the end of the build phase, the players that have more than you will end up giving you one of their choice. Or you might be Rumpelstiltskin, where you're going to be able to, get some straw at the beginning of the build phase. And then for a special action, during your turn, you can turn in all of your straw in equal amount to another resource. So that's really good if you want to turn straw into brick and have a stronger house. And again, so once you have one of these, if you get another one, you can either discard this one and put the new one out, or you can give it to someone else, and if they have one, it gets rid of theirs. So it's one way of getting rid of another player's card that you don't want them to have anymore. Now, the other type of cards in this game are the fabled cards. Again, you get these as one of your 2 actions. You can take one, and they do different things at different times. For example, the crystal ball. When revealed, you choose a player, peek at their face down, gather cards, and you can change your cards. So you can see where someone's going, and you can change it. Or you can go to the Lonely Castle. So when you're revealed, this goes to one of the locations, like the fields, the forest, the brickyard, and then any player who's alone at that location gains 1 extra resource, but you'd have to discard if there's 3 or more players there. And sometimes a monster might come out. It has that eye there, and that's when one of the miniatures would come out. And like, for example, at the end of the gather phase, all players at the location of this would have to destroy 1 straw or wood house section of your choice. Now, you're telling it where this is going, so you could probably do something bad with that. Or you might bring out the big bridge troll, and that is that big miniature right there. And so you might bring this out, and then you choose a player to location with this bridge troll, and they must give you half the resources they gathered this turn, rounded down. But there's some out there that say, hey, when revealed, gain any monster cards played this turn, they have no effect. So this is a way to get around some of those monsters. So these do all certain different things at different parts of the game. And you play these down alongside your gather card during the gather phase. So basically everyone put their gather card down. If they have a fable and they want to play it, they do. And then first things first, all fables would get turned up and resolved, and then all the gather cards would get resolved. The people would go where they go, and the rest of it I pretty much showed you. Now, it's also good to be the first person to build a full house of any of the 3 types, because when you do, you'll get a bonus, either a friend card, 2 fable cards, or 1 of each resource. They all give you the same bonus, but the first one there gets that. And if at the end of your turn, you've built 3 houses and you're the only one to do so, you've won the game. If you tie, it goes to whoever has the most stablest houses, which are the bricks, then whoever has the most next stable, which is the wood, then whoever has the most of the least stable, which are the straw ones. And that's pretty much how you play. Now, there is a 2-player game. The market board would not be here because this is only used in a 4-player game, but there's this die that is rolled at the beginning of the round before you select your gather cards, and whatever type of good this is, half of those must be just taken away, so it just gives you different options and kind of changes what you might do that turn. Well, let's first start with the things I like about this game. Obviously, fantastic production. It was clear when they first thought about their game, they said, look, we're gonna make this thing stand out from a production standpoint. And it's obvious. First of all, with the inserts, you have the inserts. Inserts are one of those things that I many times will just toss out of games. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them, they're not functional. Sometimes you can even tell it's like not even really made for this game. It's just there. So a lot of times I just toss them if they're not really well done. If it doesn't help me set up or store or play the game faster, they're gone for me because it makes me have a lot more freedom as to where to place things. But these things not only look awesome and feel awesome and store awesome, but they're also ways that you can bring them out, like those big houses that have all the things in there. You can use them and sit them by the side of the board and use them as sort of things that are storing the components, and this really sets the standard for that. So I hope that other publishers will look at what Druid City did here and say, look, they're raising the bar on the inserts. People like this sort of thing. There's actually, many markets out there, people making aftermarket inserts. Let's make a good one. I hope that helps raise the bar even further for other publishers to follow suit. The components themselves are awesome. This could have just been a very light little card game that fit in a small box, and you could just have the little cards out there and go where you're going. This literally could have just been a little card game. But no, the components in this are grandiose. You've got the pigs that you're putting onto the different places. You've got those cool little monsters, not little, huge monsters that you put out at certain times throughout the game. So components, big thumbs up here. The theme. The theme is fun. It is a family game, so it's catering towards that. And the best part about the theme, I think, are the familiar tales. You're seeing people that you've seen in movies or in books, and the different fabled cards and things like that. So I really like that aspect of it. And the artwork in this game is really gorgeous. It really draws you right into the game. Now the game is easy to teach. This is a very simple game. I mean, I could teach it in 2 minutes or less and get people playing, where you're just going to a location. If you're the only one there, you're getting all the goods. If not, you're splitting it and you're trying to build houses on your turn. First to 3 wins, done. I mean, it's easy. Now, it is a family level Euro game, but I like that aspect of it because you are going to spots, you're sort of resource management, and you're trying to figure out how to do this. So it's a good sort of entry level family game to sort of Euro style games. I liked predicting what others might do. So you're looking at what houses they're working on, you're looking at maybe what friend cards they have, and you're looking at what you need, and you're thinking, are they gonna do this? Do they think I'm gonna do this? Well, if I know that they think I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do something different. A lot of head games and things like that. I like trying to guess and figure out what people might be going for. The biggest aspect of this game from a strategy standpoint is playing the Fabled and Friends card. I think the game really, if these weren't there, it wouldn't even really be quite a game. The guessing part really reminded me of one of the older sort of yellow story games, the family games that they have called the Grasshopper and the Ant, and all it was guessing, and it was fun and it did it really well. But this sort of adds another layer to that with these friend and fabled cards, because the fabled cards, you're going to be playing these and doing different things, and you don't really know what they are, but you get to spend an action and get one of those, and that's how the different monsters come out and do things like that. But the friend cards were, for me, the most fun, because they stay out, you're looking at them, they're fun, they do thematic sort of things, or Robin Hood stealing from people, and Pinocchio, you can tell the truth and get more stuff, and I really like the friends card the best. The fable cards were good, but they were, since they're hidden, you had to kind of teach people what those cards did beforehand. They could, made the game slightly more complex, but that was the crux of the game, is really with those different cards there. So let's now talk about what I didn't like about the game, and then I'll sort of summarize where I think the game sits for me. Number one, the thing I didn't like the most is one of the positives was how great the components and how awesome the miniatures are in this game. But they're not really necessary, and they're so exciting looking that you want them to come out, and they really, quite honestly, don't come out that often. Now granted, it's all in the shuffling of those Fable cards, how often they come out. You might have a few come out each game, but I mean, in my last 4-player game, the one we just played, not one monster came out, and that can happen. So you have these cool monsters sitting out by the board, and you can have them where they very rarely come out or don't even come out at all, and then when they do come out, they do their thing and then they go away. I really wish they were sort of a more integral part of the game, because they look so cool, you want them to do cool things, and they're just there sort of like, oh, do this, and then they're gone, and then they might not come out. So I wish they really played a bigger thing. So it's almost like, so it's a double-edged sword, because it's what made this game really cool to set up and play, but at the same time, it caused a negative where like they didn't come out enough, they didn't do enough things, they didn't stay out long enough, things like that. Another thing here, negative for some, is I think this game has sort of a small window for its target market. It's sort of geared towards a family level Euro. Adults can play this game fine, it's good, there's enough thinking going on. Now the game says 14 plus. Now granted, this game can definitely be played with kids smaller than, or younger than 14. Now, why they didn't do that, I'm not sure. I mean, purely speculative here, but I'm guessing because, you know, to get it lower than that, you have to do a lot of testing, which is expensive and time consuming. So I'm guessing they just put 14 on the box so they didn't have to do the testing. You can definitely play this, I'd even say, with kids around 10 or higher. The problem is that it's sort of geared towards younger kids, but there's really too much text, and it's too, you know, there's too much going on in the card play, really, to have the younger kids understand this. Again, it's a 14 plus game, so younger kids probably shouldn't be playing it anyway, but it's sort of geared toward that theme-wise. But it's still a little bit too kiddie for the older kids. You know, the 14 plus, the teenagers, sure, it's a fun little theme. It almost feels like the theme is fun, but too old for the people, you know, it's too kiddie for the older kids, and it's a little too advanced for the younger kids, and I feel like it almost finds itself almost in no man's land there. So that's how I feel about that. Now let's just talk about general things of how I felt about the game. Well, first of all, the two-player game I liked. People ask, does it play well with two? I think it played well with two. It's a little more open because there's about 1.5 spots you can go per person, where the other ones are about 1 spot per person. So it's a little more open. It's a little more head gamey-ish, and it's a lot more about the cards, getting the right ones and thinking, okay, they're going to go here. I'm going to play this card here. So I did like it with 2-player. I still liked it with 3 or 4 players better. And so where does this sit? I think it's beautiful production, looks great on the table. I'm just not sure where it really sits because it's a good game, but it's not one that blew me away. Now, this is one of those ones where some of the components are better than the thing as a whole. You look at the components, you look at the game, and even though the gameplay for me was fine, it was okay, the artwork and the components raise it up, but then I want to use the components more, so it kind of brings it down. So for me, the game was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was fun. The whole experience of the friends and things like that was a fun experience. Is this one that I'm going to be bringing it out and playing all the time? I don't think so, but it does look good on the table. If you have kids, sort of older kids in either the younger teens or the very old, you know, almost 10 or a little bit older than that, then you might want to try this one out for them because for adults it is fun. It's just not anything earth-shattering, but the whole production makes this thing better than it really is, and that's Grimm Forest.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.